This is the problem that we have with so much fraud built on top of fraud, that nobody knows what any of these books look like, and they get blessed by the likes of KPMG or PwC or Ernst & Young. Any of the accounting firms bless it and say this is okay, but they're looking at it and saying all those assets are overstated by a huge amount.
Well, the accounting firms that are left, remember Arthur Andersen covered Enron's books, and then they were taken offline. This goes back to the crisis of 2008. And the too big to fail banks, of course, have gotten even bigger, because every time there's a crisis, they destroy one or two of the banks. Now, during the 2008-2009 period, it was Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers. What happened to the Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers businesses? They all were sucked up by the remaining banks, whether it was JP Morgan or Wells Fargo, took a piece of those businesses, and they become too big to fail. The way this was engineered is that they're all technically insolvent, but they have to put in, 70 billion pounds worth of garbage that they have to keep on their books listed officially according to KPMG. They're worth 100 cents on the dollar, even though they're technically worth zero. But they became the trash receptacle for the 2008-2009 period. It's in London. It's the biggest bank in London. London is the global center of financial fraud. So HSBC's bank is like JP Morgan's balance sheet in America. They have trillions of dollars worth of toxic debt they share with the Fed. Here, HSBC shares toxic debt with Mark Carney's Bank of England. So they're warehousing toxic debt. Now the forensic people in Asia are saying, oh my God, that's toxic debt. This bank is insolvent, technically, as it has been for 5 years, technically insolvent. If this push comes to shove, they will have a crash and then a bailout again, and the cycle will repeat itself. But don't be fooled. This is all baked into the cake. This is exactly what we predicted was going on. This is exactly what I've been saying about HSBC, and now some Asian forensic accounting firm is saying, yes, Max Keiser is correct. They're insolvent. They're hiding a black hole of debt.
But the UK may celebrate the fact that they'll go up on Heritage and Wall Street Journal's list of economic freedom once they have to bail this bank out. Now, remember during the financial crisis, when they were looking around all these governments of the world to bail out the banking system, they needed to raise some revenues as everybody lost their job and all the tax receipts declined. And HSBC threatened to leave London. Remember, they wanted to go base themselves in Hong Kong. And whatever sweeteners the UK government paid them to stay here, they've stayed here. And now it looks like a $110 billion black hole of debt in there could be the British taxpayer may have that. They may own RBS and HSBC, two of the biggest giant banks in the world of derivatives, the proud owners right here. Now, the note from Forensic Asia says, in our view, HSBC has not made the necessary adjustments during the quantitative easing reprieve. Rather, it has allowed legacy problems to linger as new ones in emerging markets gather pace. The result has been extreme earnings overstatement, causing HSBC to become one of the largest practitioners of capital forbearance globally. This charade appears to be ending, given how few earning levers remain besides selling off core elements of the franchise and the stringencies of Basel III compliance. Here you have it, that they're saying that, first of all, quantitative easing reprieve. We've all lost economic sovereignty by that regard. I mean, there's still a number one, Hong Kong, number two is Singapore, economic freedom, but we've all globally lost economic sovereignty to this. The big banks, big business, big bureaucrats who've been printing money for the bailouts of these banks. But despite all that printing, the hundreds of trillions of dollars of printing by central banks, despite all of that, they say that HSBC has this capital forbearance, that they've been lying, extreme earnings lies.
Oh, they've been lying about their revenues.
Yes.
They've been lying about their income. They've been lying about their balance sheet. They've been lying about their income statement. They've been lying about their liabilities. They've been lying about their involvement in laundering money for Hezbollah. They've been lying about their involvement in laundering money for Mexican drug cartels. They've been lying about their involvement in the American mortgage crisis and the dot-com crisis and the housing crisis. I would imagine if you asked the chairman and the president and the CEO of HSBC right now what they had for lunch, they would lie. They just had a bologna sandwich and they said, we just had a turkey sandwich. Because it's in their culture, it's in their DNA. They grew up liars, they are liars, they'll die liars. Their DNA, if you take it to another planet, another universe, another parallel dimension, you could sell it on the open market as DNA that's made of pure lies. Whatever value that has in a parallel universe, their lies, their DNA is made up of pure lies. You know, it's funny that they threatened to leave the UK if they were actually asked to obey the law. I mean, imagine Jimmy Savile. Here's a guy who committed pedophilia with over 400 children. And he's taken to the court, taken to the Old Bailey, and his defense is, if you prosecute me, I'm going to go to Switzerland. That's what HSB is saying. If you prosecute me and our scads and scores and hundreds of incidents of fraud, we threaten to leave the country. And the government says, oh no, we need your fraud to pay our political campaigns. Please stay. Cameron, you're a...
So
what a
Forensic
loser.
Asia says of their stated capital ratios that they would appear to be nothing more than a mirage. So that's what
I've been saying! It's a hologram of fraud! It has been for years! HSBC, there's nothing there except a lie! It's traded on the FTSE as a lie! If you want to invest in a lie, buy it. Buy it! Like God! It's a lie! It's a lie! It's a lie! They're lying! There's nothing there! It's a piece of dirt! If you buy that stock, you're buying financial terrorism! Don't you understand that? Do you value your children at all? Or do you want to see them sent to a concentration camp? Wait, oh. I forgot, Dancing with the Stars is on. Never mind.
Tu le bella con la papaya.